My name's Andrew Mangeot and I'm 59.
59. And where are you from, Andrew?
Cambridge.
Cambridge?
Yeah, and now I've been there 20 years, lived and worked around Cambridge for 20 years. Originally from Gloucestershire, grew up, I suppose, mainly in Kent. I went to school in Yorkshire, so kind of hopped about. But and my folks retired to Suffolk. I think Suffolk I regard really as a spiritual home.
Yeah.
And Cambridge pretty close to that. So yeah, that's where I hang out.
Excellent. And then just tell us a little bit about your running experience. I mean, how many marathons you done, when did you start?
Yeah, I've done 7 marathons. The last one was 10 years ago. So you might call that not ideal preparation for what I'm about to take on.
Depends how many you do.
I remember when I was a kid watching athletics on the TV and the Olympics, like we all do, and there was something about the distance races that always I was far more interested in those.
Yeah.
The sprints and the field events were over too fast and I could never really get into them, but watching a race unfold over a length of time I found really interesting, and I was amazed by how people kept going at those speeds and how they dropped out, came back into the race and things like that. So I was always very attracted to that. Couldn't run at school, there was always the normal sports that you do, and didn't get the opportunity, but I always wanted to run, just try running rather than holding a ball. Yeah. And I think just after university the London Marathon was beginning to get underway and getting a lot of publicity, and I thought, that's a challenge that I would like to do one day. I didn't enter immediately, other things came into my life, but by the end of the 80s I did enter, didn't get in, and actually that was a blessing really, because I joined a running club and I had it 2 years before I got in.
Yeah.
And by the time I got in, I thought, my goal's to go under 3 hours. And
they weren't that realistic at that time.
Well, I thought I could do it, and luckily on the day, that was a beautiful day, it couldn't have been more perfect, the crowds just lift you. And I remember it was before they changed the course round to what it is now, so I was really fortunate. You come through Admiralty Arch, you came up the Mall towards Buckingham Palace and turned left over Westminster Bridge, and I was really flying. I timed it well and I got in 2:57. So I thought, fantastic, that was my running done.
Yeah.
I ticked it and I thought, I won't be doing any more. I'm the kind of guy, I go to another challenge. And I wanted to get books published, which I'm a writer too. And I wanted to be a scratch golfer. And I had ticks I wanted to do in my life. But actually, having addressed a couple of those, towards the end of the 90s, I missed the marathon. I thought I missed that atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I did do 6 more. I got in on times for most of that. And then the last one I decided my body was saying enough. And I thought I'll just enjoy the last one. And I kind of waddled around with the cheeky girls. And I remember the best moment was, and it was like the exit for me was perfect, because mile 24 on the embankment, I reached out for some water, and who gave it to me but Johnny Wilkinson. He was there. He was there.
Great.
I went going, what? And I thought, oh, what a guy. He's just down there, no fuss, handing out water, and I thought, well, that's my swan song. I've got, touched my hero.
Yeah.
And so that's the last marathon I did. And the training for this, once I heard about Brathay, I started training probably 18 months ago.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I might as well start training because I'm way behind this sort of thing, and I'll see if I get in.
But why choose the 10 and 10? I mean,
well,
because
it's the next level of challenge. If you've done 6 or 7 marathons, well, you kind of done it and you're getting slower. There's no real goal to achieve.
Yeah.
But if I'm the kind of person who loves challenges and is competitive, it's another thing you think, oh wow, that's a whole different level.
Yeah.
And of course, when I first heard about it, which was by sheer chance, and Googled Brathay and everything like that, I just got very inspired by the charity. I came up here and had a look, found out more about it, and of course I've watched all the films of the past years, and it was just like, this is something else. I've got to have a go at this.
Yeah.
Whether I'm too old and whether my body will hold up, that, because actually,
Well, you're certainly not too old. There are older people.
Yeah, there are older people. I'm just discovering, though, having come back into running seriously, that you know, for 6 months it all went like before swimmingly, and the last 6 months have been a nightmare. I mean, I just had one injury after another, 3.5 months not running, just getting back into it, and I've got a kind of background fitness. I can feel, and I've done a lot of strength work in those 3 months because I was told my core was not strong enough. And that has definitely made me feel stronger, but I'm still getting quite nasty, niggly things, and so I'm anxious.
Yeah, yeah. And what are your family and friends think?
Well, my wife, when she first heard, went, "You have got to be, this is divorce material. You're not going to do that. You will kill yourself, or you'll injure yourself, so you won't enjoy the rest of your." I heard it all. But I think people know me, and they know I'm pretty stubborn, and once I've set my mind on something, it's going to take a bull and horses to pull me away from it. So they're very supportive now, and just sort of hoping everything goes to plan.
Goes to plan, yeah. And then, I mean, just moving over to the course itself, the Brother course, what is it about the Brother course that resonates with you?
Well, I have a kind of an affinity with children's charities. I've been working for the last 12 years raising money for children's hospices. I'm a fundraiser by trade. And yeah, I just found the cause resonated immediately. What they achieve with young people who haven't had a great start in life. And, it obviously makes me realise that I've been very fortunate in life compared to a lot of kids. What they achieve with them is amazing, and the sheer scale of the operation. I saw that there was this place here. I didn't realise there were centres in urban parts around the north and other rural activities centres. Then the scope of the mentoring, the training, the different things they do. I noticed there was one programme called New Beginnings, which kind of works with kids around Cumbria who have been in care and is helping them with that transition into adulthood. And that whole phrase, New Beginnings, is what Brathay does for children, for young people. It gives them their confidence back if they've lost it, and a lot of them probably never had much self-esteem and confidence. Made them see they do have potential. Opened their eyes to horizons if you come from the inner cities, and then through helping them get apprenticeships or re-engaging with education, those sorts of things, it's quite astonishing what they achieve. And it was rather nice actually when I came up here with my wife and we had a look round. I was wandering up to Shackleton Lodge, and Godfrey, the chief exec, was showing an elderly couple around. Stopped and talked to them, and it turned out he was the mayor of Wigan, but he'd been a boy here at Brathay. Yeah. And he was a walking, living example of what Brathay can do for people.
Yeah, absolutely, and there were plenty of those examples as well.
Very inspiring.
Yeah, and just going back to training, how is it generally speaking going? Are you?
Well, as I said, I've been so sort of depressed and frustrated for 3 months. I had a.
Well, let's talk about it in a slightly more positive way, right? You did touch on the difficulty with training, but the plan now, between now and May, is to get yourself to the start line, hopefully injury free. What's your game?
Well, I'm going to carry on with the strength work because I think that has clearly done me a lot of good, and it will continue to do. I'm not pushing it. I've learnt now. I think I just set off like I used to, and I realise it's not a race. It's about pacing yourself. It's about getting around. My game plan is I've entered several marathons, including a couple of back-to-back ones in Dover and down in Milton Keynes, Foxes things. And obviously I've got to have at least done a couple of those. I've got a couple of other single marathons, various half marathons, and it's probably to do 3 sessions during the week, a couple of rest days, 1 day cycling maybe, and then at the weekend long, but very slow, steady. Just keep going, stay out there. If it hurts, keep going.
Just keep going.
And that's what's going to stand me in good stead, I think.
Yeah, excellent. That sounds good. And what do you, in terms of May and the challenge coming up. What are you most looking forward to? What?
Getting to the start line fit and healthy, I think. Obviously getting to the end in any condition at all. But I think, I'm sure everybody says they're aware of what that kind of camaraderie and team spirit between the runners is. It's become legendary. I want to be part of that, encourage other people. I can see how out of this experience and going through something as intense as this with 15, 16 other people that many friendships for life are formed. I mean, I just think it's a running community is very close anyway, and when you've been through something like this together, I think that you'll always remember that, and you hopefully will maintain those friendships and maintain the links with Braithwaite in future years. I really don't think I'm going to do it again. I know people have said that. I think once, if I can get round once, that'll be great.
No, absolutely. But I mean, your point about the friendships, I mean, I've seen that over the period of time here. You see that groups of people which is growing steadily bigger.
And spreading the word out into the running community. I think it's become, a big deal, a really big deal now.
Yeah, good. Okay, then one last question. If you can, again, looking forward to the event, and just if you can, using one word, sum up how you feel looking forward to it, what word would you choose? You're only allowed one now.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm probably going to cheat a bit. I mean, I have seen some of these films from past years, and I can't remember who said it, but as soon as they said it, I thought, well, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head, respect. Because there are so many things that you respect about the place. I've summed up about Braithwaite and what they do. The event, the people you're doing it with, the staff here, the support team who are, the physios and all the people who don't really get much credit, who are going to have to help you get through this together. And lastly, the kids themselves, for having the courage and being brave enough to, you can always lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And I'm sure it's tough for some of them, to be shown these other opportunities and to actually embrace them. But actually, for all they're going to achieve through that, I feel enormous respect for them, because I can see some of the backgrounds they're coming from. It's really, really challenging, and compared to this, they're the people we're doing it for. They're making this film for. We're asking people to support us for. And it's ultimately those kids that we're all here for.